Hey everyone, welcome back to Right Media Group Chronicles, where we talk with agency founders and creative leaders who are reshaping how businesses grow. This podcast dives into real stories behind successful agencies, the wins, the lessons, and everything in between, so you can build smarter and grow faster. Today's guest is Dave Wade, co founder of Performance Driven Marketing, an agency that's been helping businesses grow since 2008. Dave, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So, to kick things off, how did performance driven marketing first begin?
You know what? It's actually kind of funny. I wasn't planning on going into marketing. I was in athletic training and nutrition. I needed a job and started selling yellow pages for a job. And I was really good at it. And it made me feel good when you could see businesses grow, right? It was self-fulfilling. And so when business started growing, selling yellow pages, another one of my family members came to me and said, "Hey, I want help growing this company." And I said, "Well, that's not a yellow page play. It's something totally different because it's a medical spa, right? Nobody goes to a yellow page for a medical spa, even back then, right?" And so I said, "Well, we need to do SEO." And I didn't do it at the time. And so we priced all these companies. Business was my father's. We priced all these companies and said, "Well, can't you just learn to do it?" So I went and learned to do it through Bruce Clay, old school Bruce Clay, and applied it to his business. And he grew by bounds and multiple estheticians. Everybody else started seeing that and so started canceling yellow pages and say, "Hey, do what you did over here." And so I kind of just got kind of forced into it, and it's been good ever since. I teamed up with my business partner. He did more of the ad stuff. So he managed ads and I do SEO and technical SEO, and we just kind of grew from there.
So it was kind of like a father calling.
Yeah, it was really interesting. The path just opened. Not at all what I thought I'd do.
So, what does your role look like day to day?
Um, I do more of the technical SEO. I manage the office, the SEO specialist. I write the SOPs. I manage changes. Like for instance, there was a change today with Google API keys that I had to walk somebody through because it wasn't with our normal, standard. Here's because I have to do everything step by step, and so we had to go rewrite the steps and fulfill it out for us. So I manage all those things. I go to the conference. I go to PubCon, MozCon, things like that. I'm in mastermind groups. I see the new changes, bounce ideas off of people, and then implement them to our practice.
So, is it more sort of the business development side of things as well?
My business partner will do more of the business development. He does more of the
Mhm.
sales. I can do sales too. I jump in every once in a while. If it's more technical type of industry, I'll jump in.
Mhm.
But he's mainly the sales and I'm more the technical.
Yeah, I mean, I was speaking with a couple of other agency owners in regards to SOPs and that being a crucial aspect, especially when it comes to hiring, because you already have a basic standard in place. And let's say things don't work out and you have to let them go. You do have the next person coming in and you're not wasting all that time all over again. So what point did you come to when you realized I need SOPs for my agency?
When I first started having somebody else, because when we started, I did everything, right? My business partner did all the ads. I did all the technical SEO. I did all the links. I did everything. And then when you start having teaching somebody else to do it, I'm like, hey, I can't just show them because they forget it. So I really had to write step by step how to do it. And it went from on paper to Google Forms. And now we use Teamwork. So because it has a dependency, so you can't do the next task unless this task is done. And I really like the
Mhm.
dependency. So that's why we use that.
Is
Exactly.
that like a software or?
It's a software, it's a CRM. It does a lot more than we use it for, but it just did that one thing I wanted if you can't do a task unless the dependencies are done for the previous tasks.
So you started in 2008 with your business partner. What do you think's changed the most from what they expect from a marketing partner?
So what clients expect?
Yes.
Actually, it's still the same. If you can
Really?
prove, yeah, if you can prove ROI, there's no tricks, right? I've been in this since 2008. I've been told SEO's dead probably 20 times, and it's still not dead. You just have to adapt. Everybody says AI is everything, and AI is a helpful tool, but it's not everything. So you still have to stick to the fundamentals. But when it comes down to it, you can say, hey, you're number one, you're number two, you have this much traffic, but who cares? How many phone calls and clients did you get? If a client's getting a ton of traffic and no business, their business is still going to fail. And so you have to get ROI. And that's what we preach. We do tracking numbers. We do everything to say, hey, here's what actually came from what we did. Now go listen to those calls as long as it's not HIPAA or legal. There's certain things you can't listen to. Go listen to those calls, correlate that to how much revenue you're getting, and then they stay with us because it's actual value.
So still delivering on results for your clients, that's the
Exactly.
main part for them. Have you noticed that the expectation for that ROI has increased because of so much saturation? out there?
Not really. As long as they have the ROI, they stay. Now, getting an ROI has gotten harder because there's more saturation, but just bringing ROI, if the client's getting ROI, they're happy. So, but yes, there's more competition. So getting the ROI takes us more work, but it's no problem.
Is there a trend right now that you think marketing agencies should pay closer attention to?
Oh, interesting.
I mean, market's always changing, isn't it?
I kind of take the other approach. I like to stick to fundamentals. I like to stick to the core things that work and they've never changed. There's these offshoots and how to get to them that have changed, but you stick to the fundamentals of what Google policies say and what search policies say, and you stick to those. One of the big thing that everybody, and we go to some trade shows, my business partner speaks, or I'll speak, and everybody's jumping on the AI bandwagon. Websites written by AI, content written by AI, links, everything done by AI. And you look at them and there's a lot of faults, right? AI, I think one of the best quotes I heard is AI is a screwdriver, not a hammer. And people try to use it as a hammer to break and do everything. But AI is only as good as the person controlling the tool, right? So AI is a great tool set, but you still need somebody overseeing it to make sure things are correct because there's still a lot of sprawl and errors because it's pulling from other things. For instance, if you're using ChatGPT, it's going to pull from Reddit, and Reddit's an opinion site. So you got to be careful what it's pulling.
Oh, I didn't actually know it was pulling from Reddit, but yeah, that's a great insight and analogy as well.
Yeah.
So,
So
well, which say is working really well right now for your agency?
what's working really well?
Hmm.
We like to do a lot of location and geo-specific things. For instance, if you're a Christmas light company, because that's kind of the thing right now because of Christmas, right?
Yes.
So Christmas light installers, if you can have service pages and location pages, so say, and I'll apply it to here. Let's say it's in Salt Lake City, Utah, and then Sugar House, Utah. There's different suburbs of Salt Lake that you have location pages for those, and then you're doing projects, and those projects are kind of like little galleries, but it's for this house I did in Sugar House, this house I did in Sugar House, and you're building these. Nearby Now used to do this, but now we just do it ourselves on our own site, and everything's just incorporated into the website. And so you're getting really geo-specific pages and projects and post types that make them rank higher in those actual cities. So that's working really well.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then of
Yeah.
course we embrace AI with FAQs because, I think it's up to 90 that they said, I think it's like 80 something percent search on AI is actually question based. And so we just ask the questions and answer those questions. And that's how we're getting AI traffic.
Wow, that's certainly a different approach. So, who's your client today? Who is it that is there a specific industry? Is it local businesses?
It's not a specific industry. We're all over the map. I have lawyers, I have financial firms, I have doctors, I have pressure washers, Christmas light guys, I have everything nationwide. We've been doing it for a while. I actually talked to, when I was at PubCon, I talked to this OG. I thought I was going to be like one of the old guys there, and I got there and I was actually one of the youngest guys there, and it really freaked me out.
Wow.
Yeah, like one of the CEOs of Yoast was there, and all these companies were there. And one of the guys I was talking to, he said, it's funny, like nowadays, if you're starting a SEO firm, so like for people starting an SEO firm, it's really good to niche because you can say, hey, I only do dental, you learn that. But really, the fundamentals for all industries are the same. Yeah, there's variables, dentists are going to need this type of client, lawyers are looking for this type of client, and depending what kind of law firm, is it divorce, is it criminal, they're looking for a certain type of client. But the actual fundamentals of getting the right categories, getting the right keywords, getting the right links is all the same. And so we've been around for a long time, so we were able to do all of it. Whereas to get a foothold, it's better for somebody new to niche.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying is because there's so much saturation, as we clarified. You need to have something special that will make you stand out, like, oh, I only serve, let's say, marketing agencies, for example, right? Not a generalist. But then if you already survived, since 2008, you have all them case studies. You probably already worked with a dentist before.
Well, I have many
You
of
know,
them.
yeah. That's what I mean. And is there any areas that have been sort of frustrating or slower to improve in the agency?
And recently right now, it's ads.
Ah, okay.
And I don't know all the insights. I kind of hear different things from different mastermind groups and other people that are in the practice, right? Since Gemini is doing and ads, a lot of people are seeing the ads not working as well. And so the ad spend isn't converting as well. And I think with Gemini and some of the things with Google coming out, they kind of shot themselves in the foot because your spend's going up. And so less people are doing spend. I was talking to one of the ad reps that worked for another company, and he said the same thing. You're just not getting the ROI as much. You're having to spend more for ROI. And so
Mm,
the the cost per acquisition is a lot higher than it used to be. And it's because people are getting the answers and don't go to the website because AI will answer some of the stuff. And so I think that's
That's
been hurting ads.
very interesting perspective, and it's good to get awareness out there because I'm sure other agency owners are also struggling with this. My husband said something interesting the other day as well. He said, "Imagine suddenly ChatGPT or Gemini starts running ads. So if you have a question or you're looking for something, because most of the time you look with an AI rather than going to Google and then searching for a business, you ask AI which ones will be the best, and it will look at the reviews and whatnot." But if they started doing ads, whoever pays the most is at the top, right? So that would be crazy if they started
I see
implementing
that
this.
coming. I see that coming within the
Do
next
you?
year. I really do.
It's a way for them to make revenue, isn't it, as well?
Right, right. Well, it's funny right now too, because if you look at analytics, we have clients that are number one for their search terms in chat as well as on Google, but they're still only getting 5 to 6 website visits from chat that come to their website, which is really interesting. So people, and I think it's because the links are so small, like if you go to a chat or Perplexity, the links are actually small. Most people just get the answers, don't click the links. And so I'm seeing a lot more brand searches go up because they see the information on chat and they go look for that brand and then they go to the website. They're not clicking the link from chat itself, which is really intriguing, but that's what I'm seeing.
Connecting to the AI, is that correct? So when somebody does a search, they get their response and they still do their own search rather than clicking on the link. Interesting. So what would you say is if this doesn't get fixed, does that mean like you still get results, but you just have to spend that bit more?
For ads, yes,
Mhm.
you can still get plenty organic results. We had that dip for about a year when feature snippets went away. I mean, we're big content. We still believe content's king, and AI and chat is actually another big play of content's king because it wants content, right? But we used to do a lot of blogs, and there was a really funny one during COVID. Is one of our clients had a call from their patient saying, "Can I, because they couldn't be seen, can I just pull out my own tooth?" So we wrote a blog about it, and it was number one nationwide in the United States. And then everybody started copying that blog. That website was getting thousands of visits a month from that one little blog. So organic traffic was through the roof. They now have 4 practices. So they even grew from it, even though it wasn't all local organic, it was national organic. But now those went away because everything's through AI. They can just ask the questions in AI and get their answers without having to call. And so featured snippets have been replaced with AI search. So that's one of the big things I'm seeing. But I don't think it's going to correct. It's just something you need to embrace and shift, right? Follow the fundamentals. And if there's variables, don't go 100% on that variable. Just utilize it to help you be more successful in the right lane.
Yeah, I've heard it's important as an agency to constantly reinvent yourself. And you would know this, I mean, since 2008, started an agency on the .com.
Yeah.
Wow.
We started an agency during a big recession. So
Yeah.
we did no loans, no grants. We just bankrolled it ourselves and just grinded it out. So now we're here.
Yeah. And when it comes to new clients, what's currently working for your agency?
Our biggest thing is getting yourself in front of different businesses as a industry expert. So for instance, if you're doing like a dental conference, you go to the state dental conference or national dental conference and you can speak, it's better than having a booth or walking around talking to people. Because if you're
Mm.
speaking in front of the dentist and you're at a dental conference, there's instilled immediate trust because why are you on the stage if you don't have trust? So we do that type of thing. Christmas lighting conference, I've spoke at that. A huge conference was a big pressure washing conference. We used to speak at Responsicon, but they stopped doing their conference. And so you get in front of the people and you're brought there by their vendors. And so you're the professional, you're the expert in that field. And so those are what work best for us. We're what we call a boutique marketing firm. So I can't do mass marketing like some of the people can. If I could put stuff out, say I have a fence guy in 2 counties, Weber and Davis County, which is a Utah counties, right? I cannot talk to another fence guy in those counties because I'm exclusive.
Mhm.
Same thing with a doctor. A dentist pulls from like a 10-mile radius. I cannot have another dentist in that 10-mile radius. I have to go find somebody outside of that.
Because otherwise you're competing against yourself.
And a lot of SEO firms can do that, and they'll have a bunch of people in the same state. I don't do that. I'm very competitive. Like I said, I coach sports. I have sports stuff all in my office. I'm very competitive, and I can't justify, is somebody just going to pay me more to be first? No, I want that person to be our team. And so that's how we run our business.
And with networking, do you find that it's quite time consuming, or this is like part of, somebody has, let's say, set hours a week when they're networking and getting new business in there?
It is time consuming. It does
Hmm.
cost, but that's the best way we get our clients.
Hmm.
You have to go in knowing certain time that I'm going to set aside. Like my business partner, myself, and different account managers will put into different groups where they network, where they refer off of, there's BNI groups, there's energy groups, there's mastermind groups that I am part of, there's sales group, there's all these different things you can do, but you have to put in the time. You can't just be there. If you're just there not doing stuff, it's a waste of time, waste of money, get out.
Yeah. Yeah, time is money, as they say. So, how consistent does your pipeline feel month to month with these networking events? I mean, I have spoken with agency owners before, and once you're like so keen on getting results for your clients, you tend to forget about your own agency and your own pipeline.
We don't have to fill it much because since we're boutique and since we're exclusive, if we get a bunch of people at once, I can't fulfill. So our ideal is maybe 5 new clients a month, as long as we're not losing clients, right? We
Yeah.
don't lose a lot of clients. We have people for a long time, which is kind of nice. And it's because we're exclusive and because we meet face to face or a Zoom call, right? We don't just send reports. They have to talk to us. We actually kind of
Hmm.
freak out a little bit if I haven't talked to a client for a while because I like the
Yeah,
interaction. Kind of
silence
like,
is never a good thing, is it?
no, and it's kind of like us right now, right? We're talking. I can find things out from a client, speaking to them and seeing their emotions, seeing their facial expressions, and they can see things from me that we can help grow the business together and we can get things out that aren't said in an email, aren't said in text. So we like to talk.
Yeah, yeah. I see there's a lot of agencies trying to automate this part, and I think it's important to keep it because let's be honest, if you don't have a relationship with your client, what stops them from leaving at any point?
And even talking to them once or twice a month, they'll still leave sometimes when they see a bright, shiny object. And it's really funny because they always come back and we love it. But they'll see,
Yeah.
they'll go to a dental conference or an orthopedic or the orthodontic conference or roofing conference. And there'll be this person that we weren't at the conference. And somebody spoke on the stage, said, "Hey, I got this new platform and does this. And we only do stuff for roofers. And we've proven all these industry things from years." And so they always switch.
Hmm.
Or the funny thing is, the worst one is they'll do that company plus us at the same time.
Oh.
And then we're canceling each other out, which is annoying. But a lot of times they'll go to that different shiny object and then end up coming back
Hmm.
because people are trying to automate and say, oh, especially with AI now, we automate everything. Everything's done for you. We actually have a company that was at the last conference. They actually do. You put in your information, AI builds you a site, AI writes contents. You're allowed 4 blogs a month. AI writes it all for you. It gives you the titles. Everything's done AI.
Yeah, and they probably charge half the price you do, which is the client seems to think, oh, I'm getting a better price here, but
Right.
then
Right. And they say it's doing SEO. All it's doing is content. There's nothing else to it.
yeah.
It's AI generated titles. There's not even schema on the back page, which anyway, we won't go into all that. But
I think because they managed to productize their offer and they can afford to charge less, which is fair enough. But it can't compare to the obviously the service you provide, which is full hands on.
correct.
Is there any part of the acquisition process that you would improve?
We're doing some of the things to improve. It's just things keep changing all the time. When we get a
Yeah.
client coming in, it's, you have to get their Google My Business, you have to get their invited from their MCC, you have to do all these different steps. And it always changes. So we had videos at one time, we're doing videos again that we can just send the client, say, here's how to onboard. I've actually used some onboarding software and they failed. So
They fell, they weren't good?
no, they'd connect wrong accounts. They'd connect their personal accounts instead of the business accounts, and I don't want their personal accounts. So yeah, that's probably the thing we're working to improve the most right now is smoother onboarding because and anybody who does marketing, websites, anything like that, the biggest bottleneck is the client's response and the client's information.
Yes. Yes.
And so that's the bottleneck that we're trying to always improve and everybody's trying to always improve.
Yeah, because this I mean, they're also business owners, so obviously it's very hard to get any answers from them. If you don't get an answer, you can't proceed with a certain, campaign.
Right, right. And so
Yeah.
we'll send them messages. And we'll send them texts. We'll give them ideas. I was talking to one of my attorneys yesterday. He does a lot of FTC compliance, and there's a certain letter you write to get approval for sale of a company, a public company. And we wrote the whole content for him, and it's just sitting on his desk. And he's like, "I know I'll get to it. I'm just too busy. I know I'll get to it." I was like, "Well, it's been 3 months,"
Wow.
but he's like, "I know I'll get to it." And I said, "Is there something else I can do in the interim?" And he says, "Well, I'm bringing on another attorney that does wills and trusts." I said, "Perfect. That's something we can focus on until you get to this. So, but once again, it's having that conversation, right? If I didn't have that conversation with him, he wouldn't have remembered, oh, I need to start pushing wheels and trust because I have this other attorney in my firm. So,
And you know what's the worst part that I keep hearing? It's when you can't achieve results because you're still waiting for them to confirm something, and then they blame you for not achieving the results.
right.
That's just a heartbreaking story there.
And they don't have the time. I get it. They're busy.
Yeah.
There's a local call company that they'll receive calls and schedule for clients. We'll refer people there. I was at a VA, like a veterans military entrepreneur workshop, and I told one of these guys that we know, I said, hey, you need to get an intern because you can't do all this stuff. An intern has to get the credits anyway. So why don't you have an intern come in for this portion that you can't get to anyway? He's like, oh, that's a great idea. Still hasn't done it, but he's like, oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah. Sometimes, they need to take action in their own time.
Right.
So you like to use AI tools, like we said, they're great tools to use, but not to completely replace the human. So what tools have you found out works best to make you more efficient or your agency?
I'll run ideas by. My favorite thing to do now is kind of build personas because it helps right from the client, right? So I'm right as one of our divorce attorneys, and I said, hey, in our market, in every state's different, and if somebody tells you it's cookie cutter approach for everything, they're lying. Every city's different, and so I said, in this market, Weaver County, Utah, what is the four personas of people who are looking for divorce or have questions about divorce. And so built out the personas, the infidelity crush person that talked about financial, it talked about all the personas. And I brought it to the client, said, are these right? And then we tweak those personas. And then based on those personas, then I let her write content. Then I give the content, my content writers to go over and make sure it's not a million M dashes, make sure it's an actual normal speaking prose, right?
Mhm.
But that's how we use AI. I can do it to set up sitemaps, say, hey, based on the website we have currently, what are some things I'm missing? Can you help me build a sitemap for this? But then I have to go through that sitemap because it'll sometimes add things and it'll sometimes sprawl or vary, right? And so as long as you read over everything, it saves me a lot of time in those personas, saves me a lot of time in those sitemaps, saves me a lot of time on content because then we're just rewriting the content, but there still has to be human oversight. I sat in a meeting at this Warrior Rising conference with Gary V. Gary V's awesome. And he spoke, he's like, because people are there, and there's different companies that are ex-military veterans and entrepreneurs that are talking. And one of them said, hey, so is AI going to take jobs? And he said, no, AI is not going to take everybody's job. It's the people who know how to use AI that's going to take everybody's job.
Yeah, I love that. No, he's right. He's right. It's not like AI can suddenly replace all of your job. It's the people and the agencies that utilize AI as a tool that
Correct.
will because they're more efficient, right?
Correct. It makes more efficiency. It makes you get to things you're trying to figure out quicker. I used it on a personal level. I'm getting ready to travel with my family, and we wrote an itinerary. And I knew some of the spots because I was stationed at this
Wow.
place we're going to, because I'm ex-military as well. And then I said, based on these things and this time, what are some of the things we should do? And then we picked the ones we wanted to do. And then I said, okay, build me an itinerary, including drive time if we're staying here. And this is the day we want to do this, day we want to do this. And it writes your whole itinerary with places to stop and everything. So
Wow, I
it can
haven't
save you.
tried that for traveling yet.
Oh, it's amazing. Like that's my new favorite tool. My
And
new
it's
favorite thing
probably
to do
done
on
it
chat.
if you use an agent, it's probably done it in 25, 30 minutes when it's like deep researching all the destinations and the time. And how long would it take for you?
I got our whole thing in probably 10 minutes.
Mhm. Wow,
And that's with
incredible. It
doing
sounds like
three.
it's gonna be a good journey.
Yeah. And that's with doing three reiterations, right? Said, hey, I don't want to stop there. We've been there. I want to go to this place. Okay, we can change your schedule. Add this. And it rewrites it. It was really
Yeah,
nice.
and that's the main part about AI and like you said, using it properly because if you don't prompt it or, you don't give it good guidance, it's just gonna go all over the place.
Right. And I learned that when we first started AI, when AI was first starting to get popular, probably about a year or two ago, we had a site, and it's still out there. You just can't find it anymore. That was all written in AI. We even did AI images. So there's a guy with like 6 fingers, but we did it
Was that like a test?
we just did it for free, and it forwards a number to one of our clients that's out in the same area. We just did to see how it could do, and the content went up, and the traffic went up, and then it just plummeted, and it's because it wasn't great content. And so you could still find it if you do. I think there's like a 6-term query that we find it for that nobody's searching for anyway, but it's AI site, right? And so AI is coming, it's grown, and so you can get more efficiency off it, but you still got to be careful. When we were writing that site, and this is where I was kind of getting to, we were writing about descaling. It was a pressure washing site. So writing about descaling, and I'm writing this page, and all of a sudden it starts talking about teeth and dentures. And I'm like, wait a second, this isn't at all what we've been talking about. So you have
Huh?
to read the content.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, do you have any tips for SEO for business owners out there? Anything they can maybe look out for themselves or, any guidance?
I will do the sitemaps, like I said, with chat or
What is the
Perplexity.
sitemap? Sorry.
Okay, so sitemap is when we sit with a client, we say, okay, you do pressure washing law. Let's say divorce law, since I was with them yesterday. You do divorce law. So it'd be family law, divorce, prenuptials, postnuptials, child support. We build out the pages we need to rank for. I don't like one page websites because each page can rank for its own terms, right? And they can rank better. And so that sitemap is, here's the home page, here's the services page, here's the family law page, here's the pages that fit under family law. So you're just building almost like a template on paper.
I see. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't come across that before.
Yeah.
So you were saying,
And then, so we'll build that sitemap with Perplexity or Chat. We used to do it by hand, and then we'll go read through it. But then we still go back to Google AdWords, look at what's being searched in their demographics and their actual areas. And a lot of times it's not what chat gave you as a page. So you just tweak the term, right? Maybe it's chat gave you power washing, which in some cities and states, power washing is a term, but in others it's pressure washing, or maybe it's soft washing. And so you want to make sure you're putting the right terms according to what's being searched. And Google gives that to you because they want you to spend money on ads, right? And so, hey, there's most search here. I should probably use this term. So that's how we get our keywords.
okay. Yeah, great. And if you could automate one part of your business, let's not think about capabilities of AI right now. What would it be? Is it still that onboarding process?
Probably the onboarding, if it automated
Yeah.
properly and didn't have many issues, that would be the one I'd want, because that is
Mm,
the biggest bottleneck, because we get everything and we sit and we wait, going back and forth for a good 30 days. Sometimes I have one up there 6 months still waiting, still contacting them weekly. But that's the process I'd like to get better.
yeah. Okay. So looking ahead, what's the plan for your agency in 2026?
Keep doing the steady growth we're doing. We are developing some new things. We have our price points of things, and because somebody does a AI website, we're going to offer a low point. Here's an AI type thing, but that'll just be kind of last thing if they don't want our services. So we've switched everything. We're WordPress developing. We don't use themes in WordPress like a lot of people do. It's all hard coded. So we've moved from advanced custom field blocks now to core blocks. So we're writing our own blocks. That's what Disney and Fox and a lot of the other companies do. And so making sure our developers are growing, our graphic designers are growing, our content writers are growing with different trends. Make sure everybody in house has the training so they can grow and they can adapt. That's how we grow.
So it's more improving the internal processes for you while still keeping that steady growth coming in.
Correct. Because just like chat, your staff and your team members are only as good as what you give them. So, and chat's the same way, and Perplex the same way. It's only as good as what you give it. Your staff's the same way. If I don't give them the tools to excel, how can I expect them to excel?
That's great advice there. And do you have any other major tip you can give to agency owners today in order they can stand out?
My biggest thing, and because I've seen it, and it's really funny, I'm so bad at names. I could probably look it up for you. There's a gentleman who spoke at MozCon last time, and he gets up on stage and he's like, they said SEO is dead this time. They said it was, and he went over 20 different times. And they said I was dead here. Here's the article. And nope, not dead. Said I was dead here. Here's how much I grew. Said I was dead here. Here's how much I grew. And he's like, so they've said I've been dead 20 times. Well, guess what, mother effers? I'm still on the stage. I'm still doing SEO. And really what that went to is, don't chase the shiny objects. Kind of like we talked about earlier. Don't just do everything AI, but don't neglect AI. Don't just do everything, before it was voice search, right? Don't do everything just voice search. Amazon, Alexa, you just got to make sure you're doing the principles for that, which are done by FAQs and done by good website content anyway. Just stay the course of what Google expects and just bring in some of the other things to help you stay that course. Just
Hmm.
don't leave the main course, because that's when everything goes away. No quick shortcuts. That's basically the thing I'm saying. Don't take shortcuts.
Yeah. Dave, if people wanted to connect with you or learn more about your services, where can they find you?
We're on performancedrivenmarketing.com. Performancedriven.com goes to as well. So does pdmutah.com. It's all the same. We speak at the huge convention. I go to MozCon most of the time. Next time it's in New York, I don't think I'm going to New York. So I'll probably go to PubCon in Austin. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Perfect. I will drop them links below this video so people can find you easily. Thank you so much for making the time for this podcast and sharing your knowledge and your expertise.
Thank you. Appreciate it.